Discuss about multivariate data analysis. Okay, so last time we discussed the bivariate data analysis. In bivariate, we take two variables and then do some data analysis. But here in multivariate data analysis, we have more than two variables. So this analysis basically refers to the application of a group of statistical procedure to more than two variables. Okay, so we normally take three variables or more than three variables. Okay, so then we in this type of analysis we have two classifications. We have dependence method and we have independence method. So if we can identify a variable as dependent variable, okay, then we use dependence method for multivariate analysis. And if in a in the group of variable we cannot identify a variable as dependent variable, then we use independence methods. Okay. So the dependence methods, this includes techniques such as multiple regression analysis, because in the multiple regression we can see that there is one dependent variable and then there are explanatory and independent variable. And this multiple regression analysis we will discuss today in detail. Then we have discriminant analysis, we have multivariate analysis of variance and canonical analysis. Okay, so these analysis are not part of your course. Same the independence method, which includes the factor analysis, cluster analysis, and multidimensional scaling and latent structure analysis. So these are all independent analysis. So these are also not included in your course, so we will not discuss. So our focus is multiple regression analysis for today's lecture. So in a simple regression model, we see that we have one independent variable, one explanatory variable, and there is one dependent variable. Okay, and but if we have multiple regression analysis, so we can have many independent variables. Okay, so this is the representation of a multiple regression analysis. So you can see that there are k independent variables. Okay, there are many independent variables. Sometimes we have two independent variables, 3, 4. You can see in research papers. So they don't have only one independent variable. In research paper, there are more than one independent variable. So simple regression analysis is rarely practiced in research studies. Okay, we use multiple regression analysis. So this is more practical, and the researcher apply this multiple regression analysis. So you know these are the parameters. Okay, so this is a parameter alpha naught, and this represents the mean value of the dependent variable when the values of all independent variable is 0. Okay, so if all xi's are 0, then y equals alpha naught, which is the intercept of the model also, and this is also the mean value of the dependent variable. And then these are the parameters. Okay, partial regression coefficient, which are attached to each independent variable. So when we run the model again, we can apply the OLS technique to get the estimated value for these parameters. Okay, alpha naught, alpha 1. Okay. And then the same. When we run the model, we get the estimated value. We have to check whether the coefficient is statistically significant or not. Okay, again, we will check the t-values and the corresponding probabilities. Last time we did, if the value of the probability for t statistic is 0.5 or less, then we will reject the null hypothesis of no effect of that particular independent variable on dependent variable. Okay. And then we also look at the sign of the parameters. Okay. We have some expected sign, and then when we get the sign of the coefficient, we compare it with the other studies and we compare it with the theory. Okay, so your sign of the parameter should be in accordance with the theory, okay, or with the other studies. Then again, just like we did in simple regression analysis, we get the goodness of fit, the model, we check it, and in case of simple regression model, we use R square to check the goodness of fit of the model, but here in case of multiple regression analysis, we use adjusted R square. Okay. So looking to the adjusted R square, we can say that what is the explanatory power of the model, okay, and what is the goodness of fit. Then again, we look at the F statistics and the probability of F statistics. If the probability of F statistic is 0.5 or less, this means that the model is overall significant. The null hypothesis of F statistic is there is no effect of all explanatory variable on dependent variable. Okay, so when we are doing a hypothesis test for parameters, so we say that alpha 1 equals 0 in null hypothesis, and in alternative hypothesis it is not equal to 0 or greater than 0 or less than 0. But in case of F test, we assume that all these parameters, alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, alpha k, all equals to 0. That is the null hypothesis of F test. And I will show you some result, okay, and then for the multiple regression analysis. Then again, we have co-integration test in multiple regression analysis. So when you have simple regression analysis, last time we discussed that we can use Anger-Granger co-integration test. But the problem with the Anger-Granger co-integration test is that it assumes that there is only one co-integrating vector. Okay? And having one co-integrating vector is only possible when we have simple regression model, one explanatory variable in the model. Okay? But if you have more than one explanatory variable, more than one independent variable in the regression model, then there is a possibility of more than one co-integrating relationship. Okay? So co-integrating vectors. So then we cannot apply Anger-Granger co-integration test. Then we apply Johnson co-integration test. Okay, so this test is applicable when we have more than one explanatory variable in our regression model. Okay. Then how to apply this test for co-integration? We will get two statistics in case of Johnston's co-integration test. Okay. Trace statistics and maximum eigenvalue statistics. So these two, for these two tests, we get two statistics, and then we check, okay, whether there is one co-integrating vector or two co-integrating vector or three co-integrating vector. So we apply these two tests. In the eViews practice, I will show you how to apply this Johnston's co-integration test. Okay, we will discuss the practical example of the Johnston co-integration test, and you will see the value for trace statistics and maximum eigenvalue statistics. Then we have error correction model. Okay, this shows you see there is long run relationship and short run relationship. If we want to know the short run relationship, in the past, what we did, we just take the difference of the variables, but if and then run the model. But if we are taking the difference of the variable and run the model, get the regression results, so then we will lose the information about the long run equilibrium relationship. But if we use error correction model, then we will get the short run results, but we will also get information about the long run equilibrium relationship and the speed of adjustment and whether the model will converge to equilibrium value or not. So the error correction model will give you information about this. Okay, so this is the error correction model. So we run the regression model. Okay, from the regression model, we get the value of residual. This is the error term. Okay, and then we run this model. Okay, so we take change in the dependent variable, and this is the lag of the dependent variable. Then we have first independent variable, this is second independent variable, but all are in difference term. Change in x1, change in x2, and then this is the residual. Now lag of the residual. Now if this is significant, statistically significant, and the value of this parameter basically shows the speed of adjustment, and also we focus on the sign of this parameter. So if model converges to long run equilibrium, so the sign of this parameter should be negative. If it comes out to be positive, it means that model is not converging to equilibrium. So there is a divergence. Okay, so we expect that in our error correction model, this parameter would be negative, and then this would be statistically significant. If there is a long run relationship, if there is no long run relationship, then this parameter would be statistically insignificant. And then the magnitude of this parameter is also important. If the magnitude is high, so that shows a high speed of adjustment. If the magnitude is low, then this shows a low speed of adjustment. And then these parameters shows the short run effect. Okay, so these are the long run. Okay. So these are the long run effect. Okay, and then these are the short run. Okay, because we have this change in y. So this is the lag value of y. Okay, then we have short run effect of x1, short run effect of x2. So this is the error correction model. Then we have ARDL model and co-integration test. Basically, if the variables of your model are integrated of same order, if they are stationary at level, or if all variables are stationary at first difference, then we can apply the Johnson's co-integration test. But if the variables of the model are not integrated of same order, so some variable are stationary at level, some are stationary at first difference, some are stationary at second difference, then in that case we cannot apply Johnson's co-integration test. Then we have to apply the ARDL model and apply the bound test. No? So this bound test basically introduced by Pisaran, okay, and it will give you two critical values. Okay, so if the F statistics is higher than the upper bound critical value, then we will reject the null hypothesis of no co-integration, and then we will say there exists a co-integration relationship. But if the value of F statistics is less than the lower bound critical value, so then we cannot reject the null hypothesis. So the null hypothesis of no co-integration is accepted if the F statistics is less than the lower bound value. And if the value of F statistics fall between two critical bond, okay, because we have lower bound value and upper bound value, and our F statistics fall between these two bonds, so then the results are inconclusive. So we cannot say anything about the long run relationship. So I will run the ARDL model, and then I will also apply the bond test, and you will see any views how we will get the F statistics and lower bound and upper bound values, and how to make decision about the co-integration. Okay. Then we also have panel data. Okay, so far we discussed the test for co-integration and the multiple regression analysis for time series data. Okay, but if we have panel data, then if we want to run a regression model, then the first thing is we have to decide whether we have to use a fixed effect model or the random effect model. Okay. To make this decision, we apply the Hausmann test. So the null hypothesis of this test is that the preferred model is random effect model. Okay. Now, if we apply Hausmann test, and if the probability value of the test statistics is 0.5 or less, then we will reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis that we have to use fixed effect model. So for panel data, first of all, we have to decide whether we have to use fixed effect model or the random effect model. And for that, we will apply the Hausmann test. And once it is decided that which effect model we have to use, then we will run that model, okay, and then interpret the results. So this is the end of today's lecture. So I stopped recording.